Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing things a little differently, yeah. We're diving deep into the life and career of Cristiano Ronaldo. But here's the twist. We're using an English lesson plan as our guide.
It's a pretty unique angle, right?
Yeah.
Using someone like Ronaldo, a global icon, to teach language skills, it really highlights his impact beyond the sport itself.
Exactly. You might think you know him, the football superstar, all those trophies, the fame, but what's the real story? How did he get there? And what can we, actually learn from his journey to the top? That's what we're going to explore.
Yeah, this lesson plan is like a roadmap. We'll trace his path from those early days to becoming a global icon.
And it's not just about the victories. We'll also look at the challenges, the obstacles that shaped him along the way.
Okay, so picture this. Madeira, Portugal. Not exactly a place known for luxury, and that's where Ronaldo's story begins. The lesson plan paints a picture of a childhood that was far from privileged. Absolutely. Large family, limited resources. His father was a gardener. His mother worked as a cook. It really makes you think, do those early struggles, those tough times, maybe fuel an even greater hunger for success?
It's interesting, right? The lesson plan even mentions him skipping meals sometimes, just so he could play football with his friends. That's some serious dedication, even at such a young age.
You can see that inherent drive, that passion, shining through even in those early details of his life. It's almost like a foreshadowing of the incredible work ethic he'd become known for later on.
Speaking of drive, this is where things get really interesting. At just 12 years old, Ronaldo makes a huge decision. He leaves his family to join Sporting CP, a football club in Lisbon. Can you imagine that kind of commitment as a kid? Leaving everything you know to chase a dream?
It's almost unheard of, really. This wasn't just a hobby for him. It was a burning ambition, a fire inside him, pushing him to take a leap of faith that most wouldn't even consider at that age.
The lesson plan highlights how tough it was for him to leave his family behind, but it also talks about how, even at that young age, he understood it was a necessary sacrifice. How do you think being separated from his family so young might have shaped him, his personality?
It's tough to say for sure, but, being thrown into that level of independence so early probably accelerated his maturity. When you're forced to rely on yourself, when you don't have that safety net of family close by, you have to develop resilience. You have to focus on your goals.
That's a really good point. It's like a crash course in personal development, all driven by his passion for the sport. It's amazing to think that at an age when most kids are worried about homework and video games, he was already so focused on his future in football.
And that unwavering dedication would soon pay off. And in a way, few could have predicted.
Fast forward a few years, and scouts for Manchester United, one of the biggest, most prestigious clubs in the world, start noticing him at Sporting CP. At just 18, he signs with them. Now we're talking about a major leap. From a local club to the global stage, it's like going from playing in your backyard to headlining at Wembley Stadium. And it's at Manchester United where his talent truly explodes, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. This is where that raw talent is honed into a precise, powerful force. He's not just playing anymore. He's developing his signature style, the technique that would eventually make him a legend. It's like watching a rough diamond being carefully cut and polished into this dazzling gem.
And the lesson plan really emphasizes the work involved. It wasn't just raw talent. It was his constant practice, his tireless effort, that drive to improve that set him apart.
Right. The lesson plan uses some really interesting vocabulary to describe it, calling his training rigorous and his dedication unwavering. Those words paint a vivid picture of his commitment to being the best. And it's a great example of how this lesson plan uses Ronaldo's story to teach English in a really engaging way.
It's brilliant. You learn the language and get a glimpse into the mindset of a champion all at the same time. But let's be honest, you can't talk about Ronaldo without mentioning all the accolades, the awards.
Oh, absolutely. This is where even people who aren't football fans recognize his name. 5 Ballon d'Or awards, more goals than most players can even dream of.
Yeah.
Top scorer lists year after year. It's almost hard to keep track.
The lesson plan dedicates a whole section to listing them all out. And it's not just individual awards, it's his leadership as captain of the Portugal national team, leading them to victory in the 2016 European Championship. It's like he's conquered every peak imaginable in the football world.
It truly is an unprecedented level of achievement. And I think what's most remarkable is his consistency, the longevity of his success. He didn't just have one great season. He's maintained this incredible level of excellence for years across different leagues and teams. It speaks volumes about that dedication we were talking about earlier.
You're so right. It's not just talent or luck. It's years of hard work, that resilience that the lesson plan emphasizes over and over. But it wasn't all smooth sailing, was it? Even with all the success, there were challenges. He faced criticism, intense scrutiny, and even at times, outright negativity.
That's something the lesson plan definitely doesn't shy away from. It's easy to look at the highlight reel, the wins, and think it was all effortless. But Ronaldo's story is also about battling adversity, about using criticism as fuel to push himself even harder.
It makes you wonder, what kind of criticism was he facing? Was it about his playing style, his personality? And how did he turn that negativity into something positive?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll definitely dive deeper into in the next part of our deep dive. We'll look at specific examples of the criticism he faced, how he responded to it, and how it ultimately shaped his journey to becoming the icon he is today. It's interesting, right? When you think about the kind of criticism someone like Ronaldo faces, it's not just about like a missed goal or a bad pass.
Right, it's much bigger than that.
It goes beyond the sport.
That's exactly.
It's about his personality, his public image, even his lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
Everything's under scrutiny.
Yeah, he's constantly in the spotlight. Every move he makes is analyzed, dissected by the media.
This lesson plan even uses the phrase media scrutiny, which I think perfectly captures it.
Yeah, it does. It's like they're always watching.
Always.
Okay, but let's get specific here. We know he was criticized, but what for? What were people actually saying? And how did he manage to turn that negativity into something positive?
Well, early in his career, a lot of the criticism focused on what some saw as arrogance, maybe even showmanship on the field. Some people thought his flashy footwork, his goal celebrations were excessive, almost disrespectful to his opponents.
That's interesting because those are the very things that so many fans love about him.
Right. It's that confidence, that swagger that makes him so exciting to watch. So it really is a matter of perspective. What one person sees as arrogance, another sees as charisma, as self-belief. And you have to give Ronaldo credit. He never let that criticism get to him, never changed his style. He stayed true to himself, believed in his abilities, and in the end, his performance on the pitch spoke for itself.
Yeah, he let his actions do the talking. So he didn't bend over backwards to please everyone.
Nope.
He focused on his game, proving himself through what he did, not what he said. And I think there's a valuable lesson there, for anyone dealing with criticism.
Absolutely. You can't win everyone over, and that's okay. What matters is staying true to your vision, your goals. Let your hard work and your achievements speak for themselves.
Now, the lesson plan also mentions criticism about his lifestyle, his behavior off the field. What can you tell us about that?
Well, as Ronaldo's fame grew, so did the public's interest in his personal life. Everything was up for grabs, his relationships, his fashion, even his business ventures.
It's like the price of fame, isn't it? The more successful you become, the less privacy you have.
Exactly.
Everything you do is out there for the world to see and judge.
And, Ronaldo, like many celebrities, has had to deal with that. He's made mistakes. He's been involved in controversies. He's been the subject of countless tabloid headlines.
But through it all, he's never lost sight of his goals. He's always pushing himself, always striving for more.
Absolutely. He seems to have this right. This is a whole other side to him that sometimes gets overshadowed by his football career. He's incredibly active in supporting various charities. He's a goodwill ambassador for organizations like Save the Children and UNICEF. He's donated millions to disaster relief, funded hospitals and schools. He constantly uses his platform to raise awareness for important issues.
Wow, that's really impressive. It shows a whole different side to him, a commitment to giving back, to using his fame and fortune to do good in the world.
It reminds us that behind the superstar athlete, there's a human being with compassion, someone who wants to make a difference.
Yeah, it's like he's leading by example. Success isn't just about personal gain. It's also about using your influence to help others.
Exactly. And I think that's a powerful message, especially for young people who idolize him. True fulfillment comes not just from achieving your own goals, but also from contributing to something bigger than yourself.
Well said. Okay, as we move towards the final part of our deep dive, I want to talk about something that I found really interesting. Ronaldo's decision to move to Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia. It seemed like a surprising move for someone still at the peak of his career.
It definitely generated a lot of buzz. Some people saw it as a step down, moving away from the spotlight of European football. Others saw it as a strategic decision, maybe motivated by finances, or maybe a chance to experience a new culture, help grow the sport in a different part of the world.
It's interesting how one decision can be interpreted in so many different ways.
It is.
It's like a Rorschach test, right? It tells you more about the person doing the interpreting than the person who made the decision.
I think you're right. Ultimately, only Ronaldo knows his true motivations.
Oh.
But regardless of his reasons, he's still driven. He still wants to compete, challenge himself. He's not done leaving his mark on the world of football.
And who knows, maybe this move will open up new opportunities for him in the sport and beyond. He's already become a kind of cultural ambassador for Saudi Arabia, and his presence there is definitely raising the profile of the league.
Right. And it's a reminder that even as athletes get older, their influence and impact can continue to grow. They can become mentors, role models. They can even become agents of change in ways we might not expect.
That's a great point. It's like a new chapter unfolding, and who knows, it might be even more impactful than the ones that came before. Speaking of impact, let's talk about legacy. What do you think Ronaldo's lasting contribution to the world will be? How will he be remembered beyond the goals and the trophies?
That's a big question, one that people will probably be debating for years to come. But some things are already clear. He'll be remembered as one of the greatest footballers of all time. Mm-hmm. The stats speak for themselves. The goals, the assists, the trophies, the individual awards. He's broken records, defied expectations. He's consistently performed at the highest level for almost 2 decades.
It's incredible, really. Such athleticism, longevity, and just sheer determination.
It really is.
But as we've seen throughout this deep dive, his impact goes way beyond just the sport itself.
Oh, absolutely. He's become a global icon, a symbol of ambition, of hard work, of the pursuit of excellence. He's inspired countless young athletes, especially those who come from humble beginnings like he did. He's a living example that if you work hard, if you have passion and refuse to give up, you can achieve anything.
It's an incredibly powerful message, and it goes beyond just sports. It resonates with anyone who's striving for something, anyone chasing a dream.
And Ronaldo's story is proof that those dreams can come true.
It's not just about talent, it's about dedication, perseverance.
Absolutely. He's faced setbacks, he's been knocked down, but he always gets back up, stronger than before.
And let's not forget his philanthropic work, his commitment to giving back, to using his platform to advocate for important causes. It shows that true success isn't just about personal gain, it's about making a positive impact on the world.
Exactly. It's about leaving the world a little better than you found it.
Beautifully put. Now, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm curious what resonated most with you. What's your biggest takeaway from exploring Ronaldo's journey through this unique English lesson plan?
That's a great question. I think for me, it's the way he's used criticism as fuel. It's so easy to let negativity drag you down, but Ronaldo shows that you can actually channel it, use it as motivation to push harder, to prove those doubters wrong.
I love that. It's a great reminder that we all face criticism at some point. But how we respond to it, that's what makes the difference. We can let it break us, or we can use it to propel ourselves forward.
Exactly. And it's not just about ignoring it, it's about analyzing it, understanding where it's coming from, and using it to find areas where you can improve. It's turning a negative into a positive, a weakness into a strength.
And that, I think, is one of the most valuable lessons we can learn from Ronaldo's journey. But before we move on, I want to talk about the lesson plan itself. Do you think it's effective as a teaching tool? Does it really succeed in combining language learning with an engaging story?
I think it does a fantastic job. It's so clever to use someone like Ronaldo, a global icon, to teach English. It's relatable, it's engaging, it makes learning fun. It's like you're sneaking in a lesson while you're totally absorbed in this captivating story.
It's brilliant. It makes you wonder what other unconventional approaches to language learning are out there. What other inspiring figures or stories could be used to get people excited about language?
That's a great question to think about. And on that note, let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll explore the final chapter of Cristiano Ronaldo's story, his lasting legacy, what the future holds, and the impact he's had on the world.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It's been a really fascinating journey exploring Ronaldo's life and career, right? From those humble beginnings to global stardom, through controversies, through triumphs. It's a story that never gets old.
It really is. And we've covered so much, from his early days in Madeira to his current chapter in Saudi Arabia, his playing style, how he deals with criticism, his philanthropic work, and of course, the unique perspective we get from this English lesson plan.
And now, as we wrap up our deep dive, I want to look ahead. What's next for Ronaldo? Where does he go from here?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? He's accomplished so much, broken records, won everything there is to win, cemented his place as one of the greatest footballers of all time. But he's 38 now, playing in a league that's, well, perceived as less competitive than the top European leagues.
Yeah.
So some people might wonder what's left for him to achieve.
True. But knowing Ronaldo, his drive, his ambition, I don't think he sees it that way. He's always pushing limits, defying expectations. Maybe this move to El Nasor is the start of something new, a chance to make his mark on a different part of the world.
Yeah, I think you're onto something. We're already seeing him embrace that role of cultural ambassador, promoting the Saudi League, inspiring new fans, and it wouldn't be surprising to see him use this experience to branch out into new areas, maybe business, philanthropy, even mentorship.
Imagine that. Ronaldo, with all his experience, his knowledge, mentoring young athletes, he's always been a leader on the pitch, but now he has this opportunity to shape the future of the sport in a completely different way.
And don't forget his global brand, his marketability. This move to Saudi Arabia could open up all sorts of new opportunities, partnerships, endorsements. It could really solidify his influence on a global scale.
It's really exciting to think about the possibilities. Even as his playing career starts to wind down, Ronaldo's story is far from over. He has the potential to keep influencing the world in sports, in business, in culture for many years to come.
It's a great reminder that an athlete's impact can go way beyond their time on the field, their experiences, their values, their drive. These are things that can inspire and influence others long after they've retired.
And that brings us to the ultimate question. What is Cristiano Ronaldo's legacy? How will he be remembered? Not just for the goals, for the trophies, but for the mark he's left on the world.
That's a tough one. It's something that historians, fans, they'll probably be debating for generations, but some things are already clear, right? He'll be remembered as a symbol of dedication, perseverance, and unwavering belief in himself. He showed the world that talent alone isn't enough. It's that relentless pursuit of excellence, that willingness to overcome obstacles that truly sets someone apart.
And the inspiration he's given to young athletes, especially those who come from backgrounds like his own, it's immeasurable. He's living proof that anything is possible if you work hard, have passion, and never give up.
That's a message that resonates far beyond the world of sports. It's a message for anyone who's striving to achieve something, chasing a dream.
Exactly. And Ronaldo's story shows that those dreams can be achieved.
It's not just about talent. It's about the work you put in, the resilience you show when things get tough.
And let's not forget his philanthropy, his willingness to give back, to use his influence to make a difference. It shows that true success isn't just about personal gain, it's about making a positive impact on the world.
Exactly. It's about leaving the world a little bit better than you found it.
Well said. It's a legacy that encompasses so much. Athletic achievement, cultural influence, and a real desire to make a difference. It's complex, it's inspiring, it's a testament to his talent, his ambition, and his big heart.
And that's what makes someone truly impactful. They push boundaries, they defy expectations, and they leave a lasting mark on the world.
What a perfect way to sum it up. It's been an absolute privilege to deep dive into Ronaldo's life and legacy. He's someone who sparks debate, inspires awe, and his story will stay with us long after we're done talking about it.
I couldn't agree more. It's been an incredibly insightful journey, and I hope our listeners have enjoyed it as much as we have.
A huge thank you to everyone for joining us on this episode of The Deep Dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.